It's official. As the Chicago Bulls have been eliminated from the playoffs and the play-in, we're going to be talking about the key takeaways from last night's loss against the OKC Thunder as the Bulls fall 131 to 113. And so before we go ahead and we jump into it, I first want to remind you to slam dunk on that subscribe button, just like Matas Buzelis slam dunks in games. And so in exchange for slamming on that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Chicago Bulls. And so make sure that you hit that like, you hit that subscribe, and you join the Chicago Bulls Insider family as we talk nothing but Chicago Bulls basketball. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into it as we are talking about the key takeaways from last night's loss against the OKC Thunder. And so, I think to describe this game, the Bulls got off to a great start, and OKC really couldn't hit anything, but you have to give the Bulls a lot of credit for coming out the way that they did on the road. I love what they were doing there in the first half, but I felt like that the Thunder really started to see some momentum towards the end of the second quarter and really carried that into the second half. And so OKC outscored the Chicago Bulls in the second half 69 to 46. And the Thunder went on a huge run in the fourth. I believe it was like 22 to nothing there in the fourth quarter. And so just OKC really waking up in the second half. The Bulls were not able to hold on and close out against the Thunder. And so Bulls eliminated from the playoffs and the play-in situation, and just another tough loss for the Chicago Bulls. And so now I wanted to go ahead and jump into the box scores. We're going to take a look at the players. Then we're also going to take a look at the team box score here and take a look at the numbers there. And so starting with the player box score here. And so starting with Josh Giddey. And so this was a tough night for Josh Giddey. I think that this was probably the toughest night for him this season on both ends of the floor. He really struggled on offense and defense. He did have some nice passes in this game. And so 5 points, a negative 20 in the plus minus box score. He had 5 turnovers, 11 assists. He had 7 rebounds. He was 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 0 of 8 from deep, and 1 of 11 from the field in 33 minutes. Next up, Tre Jones. And so Tre Jones continues to play well for the Chicago Bulls. And I mean, we repeatedly talk about this really on a night-to-night basis, man. He makes a ton of just high basketball IQ plays for you. It's just winning plays all the time when he's out there. And so I think another masterpiece here for Tre Jones with the way that he was crafty around the basket, the extra hustle plays and things like that. So he just always gives you a chance to win. And so 21 points, a negative 13 in the plus minus box score. He had the 2 turnovers, 9 assists, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, 1 of 3 from deep, and 8 of 12 from the field in 26 minutes. And so, like I said before, Tre Jones, man, I think he needs to get more credit for what he does defensively and how crafty he is with the steals. And I've said this before, that when teams come out and they get into pick and roll situations, it's not like they're trying to get Tre Jones into those situations. And so I think he's very good on the defensive end. And then also, too, just with the way that he's able to get inside and just make the plays to get the ref to, blow the whistle and everything else. Like, he's been great there for the Chicago Bulls. I think it's going to be an interesting offseason because I do think that between him and Jalen Smith, they have to be some of the bigger trade chips for the Chicago Bulls this offseason. And so next, I wanted to go ahead and continue on as we continue to look at the players in this one. And so Matas Buzelis. And so with Matas Buzelis, I think that this was another game in which he takes another step forward as far as growing this season. And so I do like what I have saw from him, in year number 2. And I think that in this game, even though he didn't get to the 30 points in this game, I really liked some of the things that he was doing. And so 15 points, a negative 9 in the plus minus box score, the 9 rebounds, the 1 of 7 from deep, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 6 of 13 from the field in 34 minutes. And so, number one, I like the fact that Matas Buzelis got to the 9 rebounds. I think that that's something that Matas Buzelis certainly can get to in his career. I think that really he should be probably a double-digit rebounder in his career, or at least close to that. With his size and athleticism, I think that he could certainly get to the boards. And so that's hopefully something that he'll take another step in moving forward next season. But also what I liked here from Matas Buzelis in this game was I love the step throughs and things like that. And so I think that as he continues to really master that part of the game, that's going to make it easier for him because, teams really defensively, you're going to have to wonder because as that handle gets better, the step throughs and just kind of maneuvering through the defense like that, he's going to be one of those players that it's going to be a tough cover because it's like, man, he can blow by you and he can, go through the sides and stuff like that with these crafty finishes. And also, too, he's getting to the transition. And so I did like the fact that he got to a transition dunk in this game, which I think Matas Buzelis really with the way that this offense is geared should be getting a lot more points there. And, I know, again, that he didn't shoot, very well from downtown in this game, which is fine. He had been hitting, at least 2 threes a game. But the fact that he's able to get to the 15 without that, I think that that's a good sign. You just need to get him more, too, into that mid-range. And so Matas Buzelis showing us some more growth there. Next, with Issac Okoro. And so with Issac Okoro, to me, I thought that this might have been maybe his best game as a Chicago Bull. And I certainly think that he's all the way back from the knee soreness that he had, where he missed some games. And so Issac Okoro, 20 points in this one, a -14 in the plus-minus box score, 4 rebounds in this game. He was 3 of 3 from the free throw line, 3 of 5 from deep, and 7 of 13 from the field in 31 minutes. And so with Issac Okoro, he came out from the opening tip, and he was very aggressive as far as getting to his shots. I love the little sidestep threes and things like that, getting an and one. And he just plays hard. And I think that one of the things that really has not been talked about enough with Issac Okoro is that I think that the Chicago Bulls quietly won that trade with the Cleveland Cavaliers because, yes, we love Lonzo Ball. We loved what he could do when he was on the floor. But Issac Okoro, even though he's missed some games this year, was still more available for the Chicago Bulls. And he certainly influenced the way that they were able to, I think, pick up the charges this year. And so the Bulls were like last, I think, last year, or at least at the bottom as far as taking charges. Now they're towards the top. And I think that you can credit a lot of that to Issac Okoro and kind of bringing that over here to the Chicago Bulls as far as the intensity and everything else. And I just love the fact that you don't need to run a play for Issac Okoro, and he is very successful that way, which reminds me a bit of what we're seeing with Leonard Miller. But a solid game there from Issac Okoro. Again, I think one of the best since he's been with the Chicago Bulls. And so next, Guerson Yabusele. And so knocked down a couple threes in this game. Loved the block shot as well. The assist, you see the 4 rebounds. And so 6 points, a plus or minus 16, minus 16, 6 points, 1 steal, 1 assist, 4 rebounds, 2 of 5 from deep, 2 of 6 from the field in 22 minutes. Next up, Patrick Williams. And so Patrick Williams knocked down a 3. He did also too. He was able to get to the basket as well. But with him, it just Patrick Williams, again, we've been looking for him to kind of step up more as a role player. It has not happened. And so Patrick Williams, 4 points, a -12 in the plus-minus box score, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, 1 of 4 from downtown, 1 of 8 from the field in 18 minutes, and 1 assist and 5 rebounds. And so, it was just the 1 free throw that he got there. And so next, Leonard Miller. So with Leonard Miller, look, he continues to be, I think, a bright spot here for the Chicago Bulls. And much like Issac Okoro, and I just talked about it, with Leonard Miller, you don't run plays for Leonard Miller, and he's finding ways to get it to the basket. And I love the fact that, man, he's probing the baseline. He gets a nice little dump down from Josh Giddey there. He also got the alley-oop as well. He's shooting a three-pointer with confidence. And so, I know he doesn't make everything, and I know it doesn't look, the greatest when he's shooting those things, but he's shooting it with a ton of confidence. And I think that that's something that he can build off of. But I just like the fact that, man, he is really just he's a slasher out there. Like he's just a grinder out there. Like he's trying to just do everything that he can do on both ends of the floor to be an impact. And I think it shows up in the stat sheet once more for Leonard Miller. And so this is 9 straight games in double figures here for the Chicago Bulls. And he certainly, I think, has been a win for the Bulls in that Minnesota Timberwolves trade. I'm not saying that he replaces Ayo Dosunmu. There is nobody that is going to do that. But when we compare him to a Patrick Williams and wanting him to be a rotational player, I'm talking about Patrick Williams. I think that you have that with Leonard Miller. I think he's going to show more of that as you continue to play him down the stretch. And it is really the things that we're looking for down the stretch now, especially with the Bulls eliminated from the playoffs and the play-in. So 15 points, a -2 in the plus-minus box score, 7 rebounds. He had a steal, 2 of 7 from deep, 6 of 17 from the field in 26 minutes. Next up, Lachlian Olbrich. And so Olbrich had a nice catch and finish in this game, and so I love that from Lachlian Olbrich. He did get to the free throw line as well, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, and so 3 points, 1 rebound in 3 minutes. And so I think the biggest question that I have with this is that only 3 minutes for Lachlian Olbrich. Right now, you don't have Jalen Smith. You don't have Zach Collins. You need to go ahead and play Lachlian Olbrich. You need to see what you have with him. Let's get him some experience. And so that is really the key takeaway I get from Lachlian Olbrich and the time that he was out there in last night's game. And so next up, Colin Sexton. And so, look, I've said it before on the last couple post games. Colin Sexton is a bucket. And when we're saying a bucket, he is going to get you a bucket. And so I loved the way that Colin Sexton approached this game. I think that he hit his first 7 shots or something like that. Then he went a little cold from the field, but still, I loved what I saw from Colin Sexton, the way that he approached it as a scorer. I love the energy. I love the effort. I'm not sure if he's back with the Chicago Bulls just merely because I'm not sure he fits their long-term build. But Colin Sexton, to me, the way that he's played, he's done no wrong for this team. And I just hope that, look, as this team gets constructed, if they're not going to bring Colin Sexton back, that energy has to be there with this team on a night in and night out basis. And so 22 points. He did have 1 block in this game. He had 3 assists. He had the 3 rebounds, 5 of 7 from deep, 8 of 14 from the field in 30 minutes. Again, loved the way that he was out there competing. Next up with Rob Dilligham. So Rob Dilligham had a tough night in this game. I believe he did get the technical foul, 2 points in this game, 16 minutes, 1 of 3 from the field. So not his best game. He has played some much better basketball as of late here. And so, you just chalk this one up as just a bad game for Rob Dilligham. I think that he still got some good moments ahead with these 9 games left. And look, at this point in time, you don't have anything else to lose. And so I'm hoping that we do start to see some more from Rob Dilligham. We start to see some more from Lachlian Olbrich, Leonard Miller, and just really see what you have going into the summer with these players. And so now I wanted to go ahead and jump into the team box score here. And so with the Bulls, you can see that, look, from the free throw line, 76% for them. So 16 of 21. You see the Thunder 23 of 31 for 74%. You see that the Bulls shot 42% from the field. OKC 47% from the field, really, again, picking it up in the second half. The assist for OKC, 29-25. They lead in that category. 9-4 as far as the steals. OKC leads there. 9-5 with the block shots there for OKC, leading in that category. And then 12-10 with the turnovers there. And so I must give both teams a lot of credit that the turnovers weren't there. The Bulls really a high turnover team. Again, just goes to show you how good OKC was there in the second half. 60-50 as far as points in the paint. So both teams got to the paint. And then, as far as the largest lead, the Bulls had the largest lead of 9. Then you will see that OKC was able to push it into the 20s there. 24 points was their largest lead. And again, that was after a tough first half there for OKC. And so what can you do? I mean, OKC, look, they had Shai Gildress, Alexander. So SGA was able to come out and get the 25 points despite going 0 of 10 from downtown, 8 of 24 from the field. I think that that's another thing that I wanted to mention is that I thought that just really with Issac Okoro, I think that he really battled a lot defensively and he tried to hold his own against SGA as much as possible. But just really ultimately, SGA being an MVP player, man, you just can't stop that too long. And so, a tough loss here for the Chicago Bulls. Hopefully we continue to see some more growth. At the time of this podcast recording, the Bulls are getting set to take on the Memphis Grizzlies. So we will be talking about that game post game here. And so let let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking once again as the Bulls fall to OKC 131-113 last night. We'll be talking post game as the Bulls get set to take on the Memphis Grizzlies. And look, as we always say, go Bulls, and I will see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.